listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the longest-running Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
We're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking to my ball. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the Dolphins Talk post-game wrap-up show here on this Sunday, November 9th. I'm your host, Michael Leawood, joined by Tom Ernestine. And we've told you for years on this show, if Miami fired Chris Grier, everything would get totally better for this organization. Lo and behold, I'm not one to say I told you so, but I told you so, because today was proof of that, as the Miami Dolphins beat the Buffalo Bills 30-13. And honestly, it wasn't even that close. The Bills were never in this game. The Bills didn't show up for this game. This was a one-sided ass-kicking from start to finish. Tom, how are you doing today?
I'm good. The post-game wrap-up show with the header, Dolphins kick the Bills' ass, is something that I probably would have never seen during the Josh Allen era. But this game today was a stunner. I was absolutely floored with the performance on both sides of the football. The trench play in this game for the Miami Dolphins was immaculate, and Josh Allen looked extremely ordinary in this football game. And the Dolphins come away with a win, which I don't think anybody had this happening. Let's be real.
No.
I know there's a few fans that were like, hey, the Dolphins are going to win this game. They're going to be close. Nobody expected the Miami Dolphins to curb stomp the Buffalo Bills at home after they fired Chris Grier. But, Mike, your prayers were answered about Chris Grier getting fired, and this is the result we get. Maybe they did this on purpose just to get Chris Grier out of the building. I don't know. But it was a big win for the Miami Dolphins and something that they desperately needed against the Buffalo Bills. And I think more of this is long-term, right? They were so close for so many years.
Yeah.
So close for so many years beating the Buffalo Bills. And this time they finally were able to put it all together, and they come away with a win.
Yeah, and we got a lot to talk about with this game. We got a lot of other Miami Dolphins news to talk about. There's going to be, we're going to talk about what this win means for some people with the Dolphins. There's so much to talk about on this show. But before we get to any of that, as always, this show today is brought to you by Caneswear. Everyone go to the website, caneswear.com, for the best and most affordable Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. Also for the Hurricanes, the Florida Panthers, the Heat, the Marlins. They have everything for all the South Florida teams. Christmas is coming up. Hanukkah's coming up. Or just treat yourself. If you need a hat, hoodie, shirt, something for the home, something for the car, go to caneswear.com. If you're in South Florida, stop by their shop at 2655 South University Drive. And Davey, Dolphins Talk Extra. If you like this content, you want more of it. Some is about the Dolphins, some not about the Dolphins. Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. It's $3 a month. We give away autographs. We run contests. We have a private message board, which is way better than Twitter and other aspects of social media. We have live watch-alongs. We're going to have a brunch with Dolphins Talk coming up next month when Miami plays the Jets, where everyone's coming to my house for the game. So just go, but you can only watch that at Dolphins Talk Extra. Shout out to Carlos Hernandez at the I Am a Miami Dolphins Fan Facebook page. And if you're watching on YouTube right now live, or even if you're watching after the fact, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop us a comment, but also super chats are open right now if you're watching live. So if you're watching live, leave us a super chat. We will read it on the air at some point during the show and give those people priority. Okay, some news here. In this game, no Chop Robinson, no Rasul Douglas, no Ashton Davis. 3 starters down for the Dolphins there. Juju Brents, who played fantastic today, went to the locker room at some point in third, fourth quarter, late third, early fourth quarter. I don't think he returned. Unsure what happened there. But as soon as we'll find out, we'll let you know. Tom, you gave some of the game thoughts you want. Do you have anything else to share here with some game thoughts?
Just a couple quick ones. Number one, Jalen Phillips getting traded. You would expect that the Dolphins pass rush would look less ordinary. They did a phenomenal job clogging up the run lanes, also staying committed to their pass rush lanes. Josh Allen did not run the football a lot in this in this game, and it definitely helped the Miami Dolphins secure the win. And last thing, Devon Achane is a man among boys at the running back position right now. He is fantastic. Outside of Jonathan Taylor, I don't think there is a game-breaking running back in the NFL that is as good as Devon Achane is right now. A phenomenal game, over 200 total yards. You can't, again, we come on here week after week, we talk about Devon Achane. Obviously the trade rumors and question marks up in the air. This is one of those games that Achane says, it's going to be very difficult to get rid of me. Phenomenal game.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more later in the show. I still think there's going to be a lot happening come January and February, but we'll talk about that later. Some thoughts on the show. This was by far Miami's best game all season. Not the game versus Atlanta versus Kirk Cousins, who stunk. Not the game versus the Jets versus Justin Fields, who stunk. Today, they played a real quarterback. They beat a real quarterback. This was an outstanding performance in all aspects by the Miami Dolphins. Mike McDaniel had his team ready, and they played with emotion and passion, something they almost never do. They never play with any emotion. They never play with any fire. They never play with any passion. Today, they did. Why today? Don't know, but they did, so I'm not going to knock them for it. So big kudos to Mike McDaniel for this game, for having his team ready for once for a game. And that's what they did today. The positives. And boy, there are a lot of positives in this game. Yep. Outside of the one interception there, he only had one interception today, right, to it, or did he have two?
He had two.
Remember. He had two. I mean, outside of those two passes, he played pretty dang good. So I don't want to give him a hard time today. We give him a hard time enough in weeks where he really deserves it. He was fine for the most part today. I thought Waddle had a big game, receiving with 5 for 84, one touchdown, the big touchdown there. Again, to me, he is a number one wide receiver in this league. Should they want to hold on to him in the offseason? If they don't, I understand that well, and we'll talk about that later. Achane, great. I thought the offensive line, for the most part, played their best game all year. They didn't give up a sack. They didn't give up a sack. Let me say it again. The offensive line didn't give up a sack. I thought this was the offensive line's best game all season. Plus, they had a rusher go for 174, and they ran for 197 as a team. Really, they ran for probably over 200 if you take away some kneel downs at the end there. The other side of the ball, Juju Brent, again, he was so stinking good. That's the frustrating part of this team sometimes. How come this coaching staff hasn't realized this sooner, and how come it took till week 10 for him to get more playing time? He looked like a young Sam Madison today. He was great. Jack Jones, I thought, for the most part, played well there. Yeah, there was a play here, play there, but that happens every corner. For the most part, those two guys at cornerback were great. Minka, I thought, played well. This is all positives, folks. I got one negative, and I am going to mention it because I don't think the guy's any good. There's one negative today. That was Benito Jones, who jumped off sides on a fourth and inches. Yeah, whatever. So he gave him a first down there, and then 1 quarter later, he gets called for a holding penalty on defense. He wasn't good. But, okay, we got one negative. Everything else, from the punter, Jake Bailey, was good. Everything was good today. This was their best game. Probably not. Let me rephrase it. This is probably their best game in 2 seasons, okay? Because last year was nothing to write home about. And right now, off the top of my head, I can't think of a game versus a team that's good where they look this good. Okay, versus a team that's good. And I mean a real team that's good, not a team that starts off that's really not that good. There's a big win versus a real team. We said after the win versus the Falcons, the frustrating part of being a fan of this team is how come we don't see this consistently? And I don't know. Now, but here's the deal. Miami kicked their ass today, but the Bills didn't show up. Now, the Bills clearly had a hangover from their win versus the Chiefs last week. I don't care. That's their effing problem. The Dolphins still went out there today, took control of the game, and won the game. But the Bills did not show up either. They had a great time last night in South Florida, which is easy to do. Or they just were like, hey, we just beat the Chiefs and Mahomes. We got the stinking Dolphins, who we never lose to. This one's in the bag. But, hey, that's on them. This team for the Dolphins came out, and outside of literally the first 2 plays of the game where you get a false start, bad call or not, and then you call timeout without 1 second being run off the clock. Outside of that, they really played as close to a perfect game as you can play. Now, look, let me say this here as I wrap up. And I warn fans, because we see this every time this team wins a game. Do not read too much more into it than what it is. This is still a 3-7 team with a lousy roster that just fired its general manager. Enjoy the win. Enjoy the day. We beat the Bills. And the Patriots, I think, won or they're about to win. So we really hurt their chances of getting a home playoff game this year. Love the day. But let's not go nuts here and start thinking this team's going to turn it around or Mike McDaniel should be a coach for life. Or it was a nice day. We're going to enjoy the day. We're going to celebrate the win, but I'm not reading any more into it because this team's still 3-7. It's still the same team that was horrible 10 days ago versus the Ravens. That was horrible in Cleveland. That was horrible at the Colts and found new and creative ways to lose games earlier this year. So enjoy the win, but just keep things in perspective is my warning to Dolphins fans.
It's okay. It's okay to have a day like today because the Bills have absolutely beat our ass for 8 straight years. Since Sean McDermott has become the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, the Bills are 16-2, now 16-3. But think about that. That is pure domination over the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins needed this win from a standpoint of we can do this. They went out there and arguably beat the best quarterback in the NFL in Josh Allen, who looked very ordinary. They held James Cook in check after James Cook has been blowing up teams the last couple games against the Chiefs and the week before that against Carolina. Anthony Weaver called a tremendous game. He had a great game plan, and they stuck with it. The Dolphins, great job in a lot of the intermediate passing game today from Tua and Devon Achane running the football. McDaniel did not get away from it. Again, like you said, Mike, kudos to McDaniel, kudos to the coaching staff. They were 100% prepared. The Bills players were probably at Tootsie's or the Elbow Room the night before down in South Florida having a great time. And they were not prepared for what was about to happen.
Yeah, that's their problem. If they 100%. Were down there or 100%. if they took this team lightly, that's on them. And look, I can't worry about them because I'm not a fan of their team. I only care about what my team does. And before we move any further, Tim, we do have breaking news. The new rankings are out from Tankathon, and with this win, the Miami Dolphins currently hold the 7th pick in round 1 of the 2026 NFL Draft. That is the updated standings here after the 1 p.m. games have completed. We are pretty much tied with Washington, so if they win next week for Washington, they will continue to fall here. And that's going to lead me to my next part of this, of our show. So you got the Tennessee Titans at 1, the Saints at 2, Giants at 3, Cleveland, who lost to the Jets at 4, and the Jets at 5. What does this win mean? Look, I know there's a segment of this fan base who wants this team to lose every game to ensure Mike McDaniel gets fired. And I'm not saying that part of the fan base is necessarily wrong because Mike McDaniel is not any good. He had a very good Sunday today, but in taking a step back, looking at everything, he ain't very good. So I understand those fans. With that said, what I saw here the past 7 to 10 days, Mike McDaniel was never getting fired. The fact that they fired Greer and not McDaniel showed me a lot. The fact they let Mike McDaniel be one of the 3 key people sitting in on Tuesday at the trade deadline pretty much told me he ain't getting fired no matter what. Look, I hate Mike McDaniel. I think he sucks. I want him fired. With that said, he ain't getting fired. So what I want, what you want, what some of our fans want, doesn't matter. The owner loves him. And I think the owner who took all that love he had for all those years for Chris Greer has now shifted all that love to Mike McDaniel. And this win today for him is big. I would not be shocked in the next 15 or so minutes if we see a video clip come out where the owner hands him in the locker room a game ball after this one. Mind you, it's 3-7. I wouldn't be shocked if he hands him a game ball. This win today for him was big because it showed what have we heard from the Rappaport, Schefters, Pelisaros of the world, Rossini's. The owner really doesn't want to fire Mike. He will give him the rest of the year, and he's hoping they can turn things around. That the owner has faith in Mike, okay? And to beat the Bills, the team they never beat, to beat one of the best teams in the league, and to do it like they did, how they kicked his goddamn ass all over the field, up and down the field. This is a big day for Mike McDaniel. This is a big win. Also, spoiler, they're probably going to win next week because they're playing Marcus Mariota. They're probably going to beat the Jets and the Saints because those two teams have quit. I don't care that they won today, the Jets. They're playing a team equally as bad. We're clearly all in trying to win games, and we might even get a win versus a Cincinnati team at home because they can't stop anybody. And we're going to run out there with Waddle and Achane. We're going to get to 6-7 wins, folks. I know you don't want it. Some of you don't want it. Some of you do. I understand some of you don't want it, and you think it's going to set the franchise back. I'm not saying you're wrong. But I don't think they were firing this guy anyways. So you might as well just enjoy the win versus the Bills and the fact that you hurt their season. And when it comes to the draft, look. We screwed up picks. We screwed up picks when we picked 1 and 2. We screwed up picks when we picked 5 and 7. We screwed up picks when we picked 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We screwed up last year's draft. I'm sorry. Should have took Warren over Grant. I know we're only 10 weeks into their first year. It's just watch the games, and you can see we screwed that up. If we're not picking 1 or 2 or 3, and if we don't take a quarterback next year, it is what it is. Because they're probably not getting rid of him either. Tua, as bad as he's been this year, he's probably coming back as well. So I understand those fans who are frustrated, and I'm probably more on your side. With that said, this win today was big for Mike McDaniel. I'm not saying it saves his job, but it goes a long way in saving his job. And if they get a couple more wins versus Washington, the Jets and Saints, then, he really ain't going nowhere. But I don't think the owner was firing him anyways. He's in on trade deadline talk. So it is what it is. Look, even if he stays, he's going to enter 2026 as the coach on the hot seat because he's still not very good. He just had a good day today. But wins matter, especially to this owner, Tom.
For sure. And, I shook my head when you're like, he's going to, there might be a video of Ross handing McDaniel a game ball at 3 and 7.
Was it out already?
Listen, no, but just give me a victory speech video. Give me the elevators, give me all of that. This is the type of win that, makes you feel good. And I do agree with a lot of your sentiments and a portion of the fan base, thinking of this long-term, what is this going to do long-term for the Dolphins? Well, it may not be nothing, right? It may not help this team long-term, but when it comes to the draft, if you have enough conviction, you can do whatever you have to do to try to get it, to get your guy, if you have enough conviction. And I would be stunned if they don't look at a quarterback in this draft. Just, they're going to be picking most likely in the top 10 when it's all said and done. Even if they're not, they better be looking at quarterbacks because they have to forward think. And the way that Tua has been playing this year, he's been more cold than hot. And, the interceptions from today's game, you're taking a shot on the third play, really the second play of the game. Terrible throw, terrible interception. Same thing on the Waddle where, Bills just score, then you just heave it down the field. Bad decision making there. But he's streaky. Typically not like Tua to be, as cold as hot. Normally he's like kind of riding that midline of like, he's got some great plays, he's got some bad plays, but he's not turning the ball over a ton. This year he's turning it over at a massive rate, leading the NFL in interceptions. You need to forward think. And if you, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, think that Mike McDaniel is a quarterback whisperer, and that going into next year, it's most likely Tua's last year because that's when they can get out of his contract at the end of 2026. You better be prepared. And if you have conviction on a quarterback, you make your move to go get that quarterback. It doesn't matter if he's here or not.
I disagree with that. If they keep Mike McDaniel, I don't want him taking a quarterback because I think if they keep him, it's just going to be for one more year.
Okay,
and then you're going to saddle the next head coach with a quarterback you don't want. So if you're keeping Mike, don't take quarterback next year because, look, I've seen this 100 times play out. Mike McDaniel's here for one. This guy's not a big-time head coach. He's not going to survive one more year after this year. I'm sorry. He's just not. He's not. What we've seen, he had a good day today, and I don't want to take it away from him today. He had an outstanding day today, but there's more. We've seen more games like we did versus the Browns, like we did versus the Ravens last week. We've seen more of those games, and we've seen games like today. So even if he survives just because the owner likes him,
Yep.
Don't saddle the next head coach with a quarterback who probably he doesn't want, but it's going to be in year 2 of a 5-year deal. No. If we're staying with Mike and Tua, stay with Mike and Tua at this point. Put off quarterback for another year. It's just a fact. Because you're just making it worse. You're just making it worse.
I can understand the sentiment. I still don't think they don't look at quarterbacks. I don't.
Well, yeah, like around 5 or something.
If they have conviction in somebody, why not? Right? If you have so much conviction and you draft a guy, you can have Tua sit on the bench if you really have that much conviction in somebody. So one way or the other, we'll see how it goes. And we're going to enjoy the win. We're going to talk about this win because the Dolphins, like the header says, they kicked the Bills' ass, something that I haven't said in a very, very long time.
Years.
And I don't know how far back we have to go to say the last time.
Hold on. I'm going to check. I'm going to check right now. So let's vamp for a little bit. I mean, not just win, because we've won a game or two here in the past 8 years where won by 3 or 4. I'm talking about, okay, this one was 21-17 doesn't count. 34-31 doesn't count. 28-25 doesn't count. Okay, here it is. You got to go back. Jesus Christ. 11-13, 2014. Miami won 22-9. I'll call that an ass kicking. And then the time before that was 2012. They won 24-10. You got to go back 11 years for the Miami Dolphins to have a win over the Bills like this.
Double digits.
Okay. Double digits. Because they got some other wins, like I said, 21-17, 34-31, 28-25. But you got to go back to 11-13, which is almost right on the day. You got to go back 11 years for Miami to have a 22-9 win over the Bills. So this is like Haley's Comet. Mark it on your calendar. You might not see it again for a while, but you saw it now, and you can tell your grandkids about it.
Again, it's one of those wins where you're just dumbfounded by it because I didn't expect it. I thought the Bills were going to beat the Dolphins by 3-4 scores, and you can't say enough about the game plan. The game, the players, they did rally around Mike. You have to say that they did rally around Mike. Guys are playing for potentially other general managers that could be coming in if it's not Champ Kelly or Brandon Shore or whoever that's currently in house. I would assume it's one of them if they're going to keep McDaniel, but
Mike Florio said there's 0.0% chance he's keeping the job.
Then
from what he was told. Then you're
set again. You're
it's going to be another
forcing a general manager to work with someone they don't want to work with.
Here's the deal too with Champ.
It's a half. Here's the deal with Champ.
People act like he's been here forever. Champ's only been here 8 months. He hadn't been, he don't know Mike McDaniel from a hole in the freaking wall. So whatever they do, keep them, don't keep them, find someone else. It's another half measure that they're going to go through, and that's not going to work out. Which is why I'm saying just keep everything status quo, because then hopefully next year you can do it the right way. But what will be interesting is whoever they hire as GM, what's going to happen next year when they fire Mike next year? Then it's still going to be a half measure where you keep one and then you get rid of it. It's just, look, he didn't do this the right way, but let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the game.
Yeah, let's talk about the win. The Dolphins opened up. We talked about already the fall. It was called a false start. I don't think it really was, but it doesn't matter. Then McDaniel called a timeout, and then Tua throws an interception. It was an awful start for the Miami Dolphins, but the Buffalo Bills started 3-and-out, and the Dolphins get the ball at their 8-yard line, go 12 plays, 92 yards, Mike. A long touchdown drive, and it ended in a 9-yard touchdown pass to Malik Washington, who is continuing to see a lot more plays on offense and a lot more targets. It was good to see him get into the end zone.
Yeah, he's a nice player. I mean, if you're thinking long term, he's probably like someone who you want as number 3 or 4. You don't want as a number 2. But he's had a nice season this year, both on special teams and also as a wide receiver at times. And it was very good here. Very good here on this drive, and he got the touchdown. So nice to see that. And he's just a really nice guy, too. We've had him on the podcast in the offseason. Just a super nice guy that is easy to root for.
Absolutely. When the Bills got the ball, they went for it on 4th and 1, and the play that was dialed up was something that Mike McDaniel would have cooked up to be honest with you. Yes, I threw a little shade at McDaniel because we've seen it a lot in Miami on 4th and short, dialing up a pass. And it was just a dumbfounding play call by Joe Brady, terrible execution, and you're just throwing the ball up in the middle of the field with Minkah Fitzpatrick on tight end 3. What were your thoughts on the play call there after going down 7-0 and not running it with Josh Allen or James Cook?
Yeah, they got too cute. I mean, just run. I mean, here's the deal. Here's the deal with Miami. They can't run the ball. And they got too cute. So I don't know. That's their problem. That's why every time we've talked about who should be the next head coach for the Dolphins, and every time my fear is not Joe Brady, because I don't want Joe Brady because he reminds me so much of Mike McDaniel and he reminds me so much of Adam Gase. I want nothing to do with him. And that's exactly why. He's a young guy who thinks his you-know-what does not stink, and he gets too cute at times.
And the next drive was the Jalen Waddle drive. The rumors before the game and everything else. Jalen Waddle gets a 14-yard pass reception from Tua, and then on the 2 plays later to start the second quarter, a 38-yard touchdown pass on the money with a defensive pass interference, which was declined. It was good to see Jalen Waddle get in the end zone after a tumultuous few days with his name floating around in trade rumors.
Yeah, we'll talk about that soon. Like I said, he's a number one. He's a number one wide receiver in this league, I think. I've always felt that way. I know a lot of fans don't feel that way. To me, he's a number one, but I will say this. He's a strong number one who needs a strong number 2. But, he's as fast as any wide receiver out there. He makes all the plays. He really doesn't drop much, really. He's what you want. He's a good player.
The Bills finally got some momentum on their next drive, but it ended after James Cook, who broke free and looked like he was going to be going quite a distance. I don't know if he would have scored, but Jack Jones with a peanut punch. And James Cook fumbled the ball, and it was recovered by the Miami Dolphins at their 5-yard line. And a stunning turnover by the Bills, who looked like they were starting to get things going.
They really never got going in this game. They really never got going in this game. So, kudos to Miami's defense. Like I said, the one thing we never see with the Dolphins, like if you watch other games, you see teams. I remember there was a game with the Vikings early this season. I can't remember which week 1 or 2 or whatever. They were running around on the field like their hair was on fire. Like they were running around like every tackle, like their life was on the line. And I'm like, good God, these guys are just wild animals out here running around on the field, just playing with violence and passion and effort. We never see our team do that. And you see a lot of teams play with that type of passion and excitement and effort. We never see that from the Dolphins. We saw it today. You saw it today in spades. You saw it today. They ran around on the field like their hair was on fire. And that's how you need to play every quarter, every snap of every week. We don't get that. But that's how you need to play to be good.
Dolphins get a field goal before the end of the half, and we're up 16-0. And the Bills opened up the second half. 9-minute drive, Mike. Josh Allen throws an interception into the end zone to Ife Milifanu, and the Dolphins stop the Bills again from getting back into the game. After a Dolphins punt, the Bills did get in the end zone. 8-play, 98-yard drive. 35-yard touchdown pass to Keon Coleman with Ethan Bonner in coverage. That was the moment, I believe, that Juju Brents was out of the game with Ethan Bonner covering Keon Coleman, who did nothing with Juju Brents in coverage. But it was a good throw, good catch, and the Bills get on the board. It was 16-6, and then Tua threw the interception on the very next drive. We already talked about that. And once again, the Bills shot themselves right in the foot, Mike. Josh Allen on a 3rd and 1 takes it left tackle on a kind of like a tush push, and he stayed on his feet, and it looked like he was about to break it. And the Dolphins stripped the ball. It was Jordan Brooks and Jack Jones there, and Jordan Brooks recovered it. I'm sorry, Minkah Fitzpatrick recovered it at the Dolphins' 38-yard line. Very uncharacteristic of Josh Allen today, Mike, with the turnovers, especially with momentum shifting over.
Yeah, that's how you know you're having a very good day. When everything just goes your way. That's a mistake he's not going to make 9 times out of 10. You made it today. That's how you know things are going your way. So, You know, I said a prayer last week. Jesus was looking down on the Dolphins today. Let's just say that.
Yep. The Dolphins, after the fumble, took 2 plays because a 59-yard touchdown run from Devon Achane snuck through the offensive line and then went untouched for 59 yards. Again, we can't say enough great about Devon Achane, but that man has breakaway speed, game-breaking speed, and it continues to show week after week.
Yeah, he's the best player on the team, and feed him the ball, let him do. I mean, he averaged 7.9 yards a carry today, so that really says it all. And look, he averaged 7.9 yards per carry behind this offensive line with Larry Borum, Cole Strange, Jonas Avainea, who's another guy who kind of sucked today too. But look, we beat up on some of these people every week. I want to give him a week off, but he was terrible today too. Like, the offensive line is not a who's who of superstars, and he had 7.9 yards per carry against one of the best teams in the league. That just says it all.
It does. After the Bills scored a touchdown, Miami wrapped the game up after an onside recovery by Cedric Wilson Jr. Devon Achane took it 35 yards to the house on 3rd and 8 to put the game away. Miami Dolphins, 30. The Buffalo Bills, 13, in an absolute ass whipping. And don't let the stat sheet fool you, folks. The Bills had
never close.
It was never close. 20 first downs for the Bills, 19 for the Dolphins. Bills are 5 for 15 on 3rd down. Miami 3 for 9. Buffalo 1 for 2 on 4th. Bills ran 65 plays for 376 yards on 11 drives, 5.8 yards per play. Miami 53 plays, 370 yards of offense on 11 drives, 7.0 yards per play. Josh Allen in this game, 28 of 40 for 306 yards, couple touchdowns. He threw the interception, had the fumble, 6.7 yards per pass. Tua, 15 of 21 for 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He averaged 8.2 yards per pass. Rushing was the key of this game. The Bills, 22 carries for 87 yards at 4.0 per carry. The Dolphins, 32 for 197 at 6.2. Neither team really made the red zone. Both went in there once inside the 20-yard line. Bills 0 for 1, Miami 1 for 1. Penalties 6 for 67 for Buffalo, 5 for 35 for Miami. And time of possession, 31-23 for the Bills, 28-37 for the Dolphins. And the turnover battle was won by Miami 3-2. Let's give out some game balls. I mean, obviously, we know one. We know one of them.
Yeah, I mean, let's just each give one to Achane and just take it off the board. He gets one. He gets a game ball. I mean, just without saying, he gets it. I'm going Juju Brents. He had to step in for Rasul Douglas today, and I was so impressed with him. He had 5 tackles on the day. And look, you can't go by the stat sheet. He was like glue on the Bills wide receivers, and he was there, and he made plays, and he recovered a fumble. I just thought Juju Brents was fantastic. I know he left the game early. It didn't matter. He was so good when he was in the game. That's all that matters. So he gets a game ball for me.
We talked a lot about guys on the trade block this week. The one guy we didn't talk about was Bradley Chubb, who did not get moved at the deadline. He gets mine. He had 3 tackles in this football game. He had a sack. But the big key stat in this one, he had 4 quarterback hits on Josh Allen. So he was an absolute menace in the backfield against 2 very good tackles in Spencer Brown and Deion Dawkins. So Bradley Chubb had an A-plus game, and he gets my game ball.
Yeah, and we had a super chat here from Jeffrey Johnston, who's like us. He lives up north, but he sounds like he lives in Buffalo. Today, being here in Buffalo, it's a good day. Yes, it is, Jeffrey.
It's going to be great.
Yes, it's going to be a great week.
Walk into your local Wegmans.
Yeah, walk into your local
after
Wegmans
this game with your Dolphins gear on. Oh,
and you order a sub and tell them don't put it in that godforsaken bag that says "Go Bills" or whatever the heck it says. Put it in a Wegmans bag. I don't want it in the Go Bills bag. Go there to Wegmans and do that today. A couple things here. What's that? I forgot what I was going to say now because you got me going on Wegmans and the Bills. This win. What was I going to say? I totally lost my train of thought now. Give me a second. It'll come back to me. Or maybe it won't. Okay. So, here it is. This win is going to be, it's great today. It's great today. It's going to be better maybe in a month because the Patriots went to Tampa and won. And not that I love the Patriots any, they go to hell too and stay there. But if they win the AFC East, and that means the precious little Bills Mafia in their final year of that garbage tank that they call Ralph Wilson Stadium doesn't get a home playoff game, my heart ain't going to break. And if this loss did that and really just screwed them in that regard where they might not get a home playoff game in their final year of that dump that they call Ralph Wilson Stadium, good. I'm glad. Screw Buffalo. Don't love the Patriots, but I'd rather see Drake May get a home playoff game than Josh Allen and those asshole fans. That was my thought that I forgot. That was it. Okay.
You're very good at throwing shade at Buffalo and their fans.
There you go.
You've made a great living off doing that.
I have. I mean, it's a horrible city. It's a horrible thing. Now, look, the new stadium that is being built looks fantastic. It's going to be glorious. And they should enjoy it, but those fans will ruin it. But they should enjoy it. It looks like a glorious stadium. But if anyone's been to where they play now, and I've been so many times, I've lost count, it sucks. This thing was built in like the 60s or 70s or 50s. And it hasn't been, I mean, they've done updates, but they haven't done no real updates. You're pretty much sitting on concrete, sitting in the cold. It's just horrible. It's just horrible. It's a horrible place. And they're horrible people. They really are horrible people. Go jump through a table. It makes no freaking sense jump through a table. I want to jump through a table. I don't get how jumping through a table makes you a fan of a team. I don't get it. It makes no sense. All right, let's get to some of the trade deadline rumors and reports that's been out there since Tuesday. We got 2 on Waddle, 1 on Achane. The first Waddle one came out from Pittsburgh Steelers insider Mark Kablooey, who's works for the Pat McAfee show. He also works for he covered the Pittsburgh Steelers for their local newspapers, but how most newspapers just like let people go left and right nowadays. He lost his job, so Pat McAfee hired him for his show, so he still covers them for Pat McAfee, and he also got a job where he writes for WWE.com. Don't laugh. He just needed work, but he knows Pittsburgh sports, and he said that the Pittsburgh Steelers were close to acquiring Jalen Waddle on Tuesday. They offered multiple picks, but they felt from their end that the Miami Dolphins interim GM got cold feet at the last minute, which they understand, but they felt they were close to acquiring Waddle. And I'll say this, if they were, and they would have had a 1-2 punch of Waddle and Metcalf, that would have been a lethal offense. And I know it's Rodgers now this year, but that would have helped them get a big-time quarterback next year and later when you got those 2 wide receivers out there on the same team. That would have been a lethal combo. So Pittsburgh felt like they were close to acquiring him. It didn't happen. Then the big story broke this morning, Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, that the Buffalo Bills, yes, the same Buffalo Bills, offered the Miami Dolphins a 2027 first-round pick and a 2026 third-round pick. The Miami Dolphins shot back saying they wanted the first-round pick to be in 2026, not 2027, and trade talks broke down. Here's what I'll say. I get it. First off, trading with the Bills, probably not your ideal scenario, so I get it. That's number one. Number two, I'm not against trading with teams inside your own division. We have before. We traded Parker to the Patriots for a third. I remember once the Patriots traded Drew Bledsoe to the Bills. And I know Pittsburgh and Cleveland have made like a zillion trades. Like trading inside your own, it's not that big a deal to me. It's really not. I just want the best trade possible. I don't care. Here's what, like, fans in general, they want to control everything. And that I want to control what my team does, and I don't want them to get better either, so I don't want to trade. Like, just worry about your own team. Don't worry about what this does for the other team. Because right now, the Bills are up here, Miami's down here. I can't worry about the Bills, okay? So, but I do get not wanting to trade him there because he is young, and he would possibly come back to haunt you for a few. I get it. With that said, I don't know what the Dolphins are thinking because the 2027 draft is going to be like an iconic draft, okay? The people who cover this stuff is saying it's going to be one of the great drafts of all time. It's loaded. It's going to have so much talent in, especially with a few of these quarterbacks are going to head back to school like Sellers and possibly Simpson, and it's just going to make that draft even better. You got the Ohio State wide receiver who some say is going to be the greatest wide receiver of all time. He's in that draft. Like the 2027 draft's better. If I'm the Dolphins, if they said no just because 2027 or 2026, I think they're idiots because I'd rather have the extra first round pick in 2027. Honestly, that's going to be a way better draft. Not that 2026 is bad, but 2027 is going to be so good. I'd want the first round pick in that draft. So if that was the only reason they said no, it's a dumb reason. Okay, so there's that. There's an HN from Ian Rappaport that the Miami Dolphins got the most phone calls out of anybody regarding HN on Tuesday. That the Miami Dolphins wanted a second-round pick and more. Okay, now here's the thing. Someone in our chat, sorry. Wes Welker trade. First off, it didn't kill us. Tom Brady was going to be good with or without Wes Welker, and Wes Welker never won a ring with the Patriots, so it didn't kill us. Miami was bad. The Patriots are going to be great with or without him because they had Tom freaking Brady. So it's nonsense like that, which fans get too caught up in. Like, it doesn't matter. And when it comes to HN, Miami wanted a second-round pick and more. Now, what's more? It could be anything. Who knows? So I guess no team met that. But here's what I'm going to say. I know some people aren't going to like this, but I don't care. Just because they didn't trade these guys now in November, don't mean they won't trade them in March or April. Because, again, it really depends on what they do at GM and head coach, which we don't know. We have our thoughts. We don't know. And whoever the new GM is, he didn't draft either one of these guys. And whoever the new GM is, it's like this isn't a quick fix in Miami. I know they won today. They kicked their ass. It looks great. This roster sucks. It needs so much talent. Some of the guys they drafted last year, rounds 1 and 2, don't look good. Honestly, just like early signs don't look good. This roster needs a lot of talent. And picks is the only way to get new talent. The more picks you got, the better you are. If a team in March or April, if you're the new general manager and you go, I don't want to give Achane 4 years, $50 million, $25 million fully guaranteed. Well, they ain't going to hold out. Well, let me just trade him now and get a pick in 2026, and I'll have an extra pick in round 2. And extra pick in round 5 or whatever they do. So he might be gone then. And when it comes to Waddle, if they get an offer from somebody in the offseason that's a 1 and a 3, the new general manager might be like, oh, I didn't draft this guy. By the time we're going to be good again in 2028 or something, he ain't going to be here probably. Let me just take, just because they survived this round, don't mean they're still going to be here in March and April. That's all I'm going to say. That's my takeaway. I get why they didn't trade either now because I'm fine with it because let the new guy, whoever the new guy is, make that call in March or April because the draft ain't till the last week of April and you didn't have to do nothing now.
Yeah. For me, it's whoever the general manager is also has to look at it from foundation standpoint, right? If you're thinking that you're going to get maybe a new quarterback, you have a young wide receiver who's a number 1 that's, in my opinion, on a pretty damn cheap contract in Jalen Waddle, and you have a running back in Devon Achane who does it all, right? He's an all-purpose running back. You don't find these guys regularly. And regardless of what you can find in the draft, there's no guarantees in the draft. You have 2 guarantees right now. Jalen Waddle is a damn good football player. Devon Achane is a damn good football player. Those are guys you want to build around. That's my opinion. I'm glad they didn't trade him. If it was a 2026 first and a third, yeah, I got to see them pull a trigger and trade Jalen Waddle 100%. And I wouldn't fault them for it. But what they were going to be getting from the Buffalo Bills was a pick near 90 in the third round this year, and most likely a pick at the back end of the first in 2027. That's not enough value for me to trade Jalen Waddle because who are you replacing him with? Again, you can tell me, you can sell me on the 27 draft. I think it's going to be great. I think there's some good pieces in the 26 draft. 27 draft is going to be fantastic. But there are 0 guarantees on anybody. On paper, from what they did in college, it's all great. Let them get to the dance and see what they can do. We've been sold goods on so many players in Miami, trading up to get Deion Jordan, who was supposedly the next Jason Taylor of the NFL. Absolute bust. Absolute bust. There is no guarantees. When you have guarantees, you keep them. The new general manager has a decision on Devon Achane. I think if Mike McDaniel, and he does, he has a voice in that room where they're making decisions, he will be the first to say, you're not trading Devon Achane. Ross gave him the power to make that voice be heard. He did it during the trade deadline. He's going to have that voice in the offseason. I don't see either getting moved unless the team is completely blown away and Mike McDaniel is still the head coach. If he's not the head coach, the gloves are off. You do what you got to do. But if he's here, Waddle's not going anywhere, and I don't think Achane is either.
Yeah, I would agree with, if he's still here, McDaniel, the odds those two guys would stay in the offseason is probably there. If they get rid of Mike, which still might happen, I don't think it's going to happen, but it still could, then all bets are off, because I think you got new GM, new head coach. And look, they want to put together their own team. Okay. And let's be honest, that's why they would be here, because this team failed with the last incarnation. So again, I'm not saying it will happen. I'm not saying it should happen. I'm saying don't be shocked if it happens, because new GMs, they're going to come in with a new head coach, especially if it's a new head coach, and they're going to be like, okay, well, what do we have here? What do we have here that can bring us back assets? Because this is, again, even if they stay, this team is not going to be good in 2026, folks. Okay, because the roster sucks and they have no money. So they're not going to go out there in March and we're going to sign this guy, we're going to sign that guy. They got the 5th fewest salary cap space in the league. And I know they can open up more, but guess what? Every team can open up more with just 2 or 3 moves. We can open up all this money. Yeah, every team can say that. So it still puts you down with the 5th fewest salary cap space in the league. And they're not going to go out there in March and be players and sign a bunch of guys to make this roster better. They're going to continue to try and do it in the draft. And we saw this year with Grant. Grant hadn't played well. We saw it this year with Savane. Savane hasn't played well. And that was pretty much our whole draft, let's be honest. You get a little bit from Ollie Gordon every now and then. You get a little bit. I mean, but that was pretty much our draft, and neither guy's helped us any. So next year's going to be just as bad as this year, because it's going to be pretty much the same team if we stick with the same people. If they bring in a new head coach, new GM, then they're going to be like, okay, well, guess what? I didn't draft any of these guys. I don't want any of these guys. I'll keep you and you because you guys look like you can play. But if I can get a second or a first in return for you, let me do that so I can draft my guy and I can save money. And so we'll see what happens then. But that's a long ways away. But I'm telling you right now, a few more wins like today, McDaniel ain't going nowhere. And if he ain't going nowhere, these guys will, at least Waddle will probably be here. Achane's a different story because that does come down to money. And he's going to hold out. He's going to hold out. So that one might be ugly.
He's going to hold out because at this point he has an absolute argument about getting the bag, and he deservedly should get the bag based on, his production level. His baseline, in my opinion, is going to be the James Cook deal. That's his baseline.
Yeah. He ain't taking less than that.
Nope.
And who do we have on?
And he should.
Yeah. I forget. Marissa had on, I forget which insider it was. Was it Pelissaro? It might have been Pelissaro. It might have been someone else. I can't remember because she's done so many interviews. They said, well, he can want that. That doesn't mean he'll get it. And that's where the rubber meets the road, because they say, look at his size compared to Cook's size. What's the feeling long term? And again, this is kind of where the Dolphins got in trouble with Tua. He had one great year, although it's more than one great year here for Achane. He had one great year. It's like, just pay him. We'll be fine. And then you get what you get.
Right. He's backing, he had a great year last year. Overall, I think he had
he's had a few great years.
Great year last year. He's backing it up this year. So now you're starting to see consistency with him.
But that's the worry, though. The size. Can he hold up for 3 years into that deal?
So far, so
1
good.
year. Yeah, well,
so far, so good.
Well, he hadn't got the deal yet. So
no, of course not.
I mean,
so that's typical for Miami.
That's going to be the conversation.
If they give out the big contract, Mike.
Yeah, look.
Typically he'll fold, but
yeah,
but he deserves every bit of money that he's going to receive, and I'm sure his agent is already sitting there counting the money like Scrooge McDuck in that gif. Just
yeah.
clicking the
But here's the
finger,
deal. Look, here's the deal. We are in a you cannot bury the lead. We're in a post Chris Greer era. Chris Greer is gone. The dark cloud has been removed. It's gone. Poof. Maybe with Greer gone, McDaniel, by some magical way, learned how to coach. I don't know. He looked good today. One good day. Now, can he back it up next week when they go to Spain? And I'll tell you this. The last time they went overseas, they treated it like a goddamn vacation. They flew out on a Monday. They went sightseeing. Oh, yeah, we got a game to play on Sunday. And they didn't even show up. That was a game versus Jacksonville. I forget what. So maybe not the last game. No, it was a game versus Chiefs, too. Pretty much every time they go to somewhere overseas, they play like garbage because they treat it like a vacation. They should do, I don't know what they're doing. They should do what the Rams did like a few weeks ago. Land on Saturday, play on Sunday, fly home Monday. That's it. It's not a vacation. You don't need to go see sights. You want to see Spain? See it in May. You want to see Spain? See it in June before training camp. You go on your own. These guys all make enough money. Don't make this a sightseeing trip. They got to go out. Look, I know some people want him to lose. I get it. But if this guy's serious about being a head coach who wants to keep his job, land on Saturday, play on Sunday, go home the next day. That's it. Game over. Don't worry about seeing Spain. It ain't that important. Spain ain't going nowhere.
Going out and winning, you want to. Yeah, I agree with you. You want to back this win up with a win in Spain next week. If you're serious and you want to be the head coach of this football team and you're trying to convince not even just the ownership group and potentially the new general manager, but you're trying to convince the national media that you're a serious football program, I 100% agree. Do exactly what McVay did. Fly him in. And McDaniel and McVay are friends. Don't think that Mike McDaniel didn't see what McVay did and may not try to copycat him.
Yeah, but this has probably already been
fly
set.
Out, whether you fly out Friday, Friday evening, first thing Saturday morning, it doesn't matter. Don't make it a week-long trip. I don't want to see them boarding a plane for Spain on Tuesday or Wednesday. I wanted them to practice at home, get on the plane, get your Chick-fil-A bags. You're going to have a nice long flight over to Spain. Land, play the game. If you win the game, you're going into the bye week winning 2 games in a row with the Jets and the Saints on the docket.
Well, hey, look, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Them just being how can I word this without getting this political? Them taking off from an airport is a 50-50 proposition at this point. It's no sure thing. So I don't care what day they're flying. It's no sure thing. They're going to be able to take off.
You gotta make sure you got air
even get to
traffic
Spain. So they better. So Ross has got a lot of money. He better get a boat or a vessel. I know it'd probably take a week, but then leave now just to ensure you're there for that game in Spain. All joking aside, so win today versus the Bills. Next week, Marcus Mariota. Week after that, Tyler Shuck. Week after that, Justin Fields. Could the Miami Dolphins go on a 4-game winning streak here, with this being win 1 today, which would mean they've won 5 of the last 6 if you go back to the Atlanta game. If they do that, again, Marcus Mariota, Shuck, and Justin Fields, or Tyrod Taylor, whatever the hell the Jets do by then. And then you play Pittsburgh. Okay, so that might be a loss on Monday night on the road. Come home, play the horrible Cincinnati Bengals. Then you got Tampa Bay. Okay, that's probably a loss. But then week 18, you got the Patriots, who probably going to have everything locked up, but they're not going to get a bye. They'll probably have everything locked up as a wild card, or the winners of the East. They're like, you know what? We're not playing. May might have to play again on Saturday. We can't play May. We can't play this guy. We can't play. There's a chance. Now, look, I know segment of the fan base don't want to hear it. There's a chance. Right now we're 3, 4, 5, 6. You get to 7 or 8 wins, Tom, and it ain't that far-fetched. If they play closer to how they played today most weeks, they're going to get to 7 or 8 wins. And people say 7 or 8. Yeah, again, Mariota, Shuck, Fields, the Cincinnati defense, and the Patriots second string. They could get to 7 or 8 wins, and it ain't that far-fetched.
Nope.
And then you're picking 20.
Of course. It's a typical Dolphins fashion. You start the season like crap and then finish strong, and then it's the circle of life. It's the circle of life being a Dolphins fan.
Yeah, so all right. This is look, anytime they beat the Bills, I'm not going to apologize for it. Screw
Nope.
them, screw their fans. And if this hurts them, like I said, from them not getting on playoff game, even better. Screw the Bills, screw the city of Buffalo and their dumbass fans. Go jump headfirst through a table. I don't give a crap. They had so many fans down there today. They took over the stadium. God bless them. Have a nice flight home. I hope one of your flights are one of the flights out of Fort Lauderdale that gets freaking canceled tomorrow morning and you're there even longer. Really, I hope you guys have I hope you have a miserable flight home. Screw those fans. Seriously, watching the news, I don't want to get political, but let's just say watching the news with this whole thing with the flights. Thank God we went when we did, Tom. That's all I'm going to say. Thank God we went when we did. And that was at the start of the shutdown. That was like week 2. And I said, Tom, I'm nervous. Like, it'll be fine. And it was fine. But that was week 2 of the shutdown. Now we're what? I forgot how many weeks. Woohoo!
Yep. Yeah, thank God we got through it. Thank God we got back home. Had some Wegman subs to put the public sub conversation to bed. Yeah. It was beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm looking forward to next year's trip.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully the airports are open by then. All right. That's all for today's show. Oh, we got more breaking news here. Per one of the news channels, I don't want to say which one, people get all in their feelings. There's a meeting tonight about a possible vote on the shutdown from one of the political parties. Again, I'm not going to say which one because people get in their feelings. One of the political parties is going to vote to maybe cave a little bit here to end this. So who knows? That might be a good thing if you are flying. Everyone, go to the website, DolphinsTalk.com. Check it out. Follow Tom on social media at DolphinsTalk Tom. Follow myself at DolphinsTalk. Even if you're watching this later on tape delay, leave us a super chat. I will respond to the super chat on the next show. Leave us a super chat. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Smash the like button as well. Drop us a comment below. Let us know if you think Mike McDaniel should be back or not. It's all over the map. Everyone's entitled to feel any way they want to feel. Yep. Put up your comment. Let us know how you want to feel. Check out the Dolphins Talk TikTok channel. We put up videos each and every day at TikTok. Once again, at Dolphins Talk there. Shout out to Marissa Marino. I know she's still feeling under the weather. We're thinking about you, Marissa. Feel better soon. And yeah, that's all for today's show. Josh and Aaron on Monday, myself, Josh Moser, Tuesday, myself and Tom on Wednesday, and we'll have shows lined up all week. And I'll probably have a show this week as well with Dolph Freaky, getting freaky with it. Everyone, have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll talk to you again after a while. Once again, apologies to Dan Marino. We ran out of time tonight. I'll try to get you on the next show. Just ran out of time. Apologies there. And as I close this out, please don't forget, we must put an end to highway profanity and F the Bills.
Dolphins kick the Bills' ass. Fins up.